Listen to me closely. What if the pressure you've been under is not punishment, but a signal? What if the tears, the delays, the closed doors, and the long nights were not meant to break you, but to announce something? I came with a word today that didn't come from fear, didn't come from people, and didn't come from circumstances. God says this is the end of your tough time. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. Some of you have been strong for too long. You smiled when you wanted to scream. You kept moving when your spirit felt exhausted. You carried responsibility, rejection, and uncertainty, yet you're still standing. Hear me, God never allows pressure without purpose. There is a divine moment when struggle expires, when endurance gives birth to elevation. And today I'm not speaking hype, I'm speaking alignment. Because when God decides a season is over, nothing can extend it. Your tough time did not come to stay, it came to prepare you. There is something you must understand about pain, pressure, and delay. None of it was designed to move in with you permanently. Tough times are visitors, not residents. They knock on your door. They sit in your house for a season. They make noise. They rearrange your emotions, but they do not own the place. God never created struggle to be your final address. Somewhere along the journey, many people start thinking, this is just my life now. But God says, no, this is just a chapter. And chapters end. Think about the way night works. No matter how dark it gets, night has never defeated morning. It may feel long, it may feel endless when you're in it, but dawn is already scheduled. In the same way, your tough time came with a time limit attached to it, even if you don't see the date. Just because you don't know when it ends doesn't mean it won't end. God works on calendars you cannot see, but nothing he allows is random, and nothing he allows is permanent without purpose. Everyday life teaches us this. When you're lifting weights, the burn in your muscles feels unbearable, but that burn is not there to destroy you, it's there to build you. The moment you stop lifting, the pain stops. But while you're in it, your body is changing. Tough seasons work the same way. While you're asking God to remove the pressure, God may be using the pressure to remove weakness, doubt, fear, or dependence on things that cannot sustain you. What feels like punishment is often preparation in disguise. Consider how storms behave. No storm announces how long it will last. When rain is pouring, when thunder is shaking the windows, it feels like the world is collapsing. But storms don't ask for permission to leave. They leave when they've released what they were carrying. Your tough time may be heavy because it's releasing something inside you. Patience, wisdom, resilience, clarity, strength. When it's done delivering what it came to give, it cannot stay. Some of you have been telling yourself, I've been strong for too long. But what if God is saying you're stronger than you realize? You didn't survive this season by accident. You didn't wake up this morning by luck. You are still standing because God has been carrying you when you thought you were walking alone. And if he carried you this far, he didn't do it just to drop you in the middle of the road. Look at how life renews itself. Trees don't look like they're winning in winter. They look empty, bare, lifeless. But winter is not killing the tree, it's strengthening the roots. When the season changes, what was hidden underground becomes visible above ground. In the same way, your progress may be happening in places no one applauds, no one notices, not even you. But God sees what's growing beneath the surface, and when the season shifts, the fruit will speak for itself. Your tough time is not proof that God has forgotten you. It may be proof that God is refining you. Gold doesn't complain in the fire, but it comes out pure. Diamonds are not formed in comfort, but under intense pressure. The pressure you're under is not meant to crush you. It's meant to reveal what you're made of. And once the process is complete, the pressure has no reason to stay. There are things you can endure for a season that you cannot endure forever. And God knows the difference. He knows your breaking point. He knows when enough is enough. He knows when the lesson has been learned, when the strength has been built, when the heart has been shaped. And when God says, this is the end, nothing can extend it. Not delay, not opposition, not fear, not past mistakes. So don't let today's struggle convince you that tomorrow is canceled. Don't let a temporary situation define your identity. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not finished. You are in transition. And transitions are uncomfortable because something is ending and something greater is being prepared. God says this is the end of your tough time, not because life will never challenge you again, but because this chapter has done its work. What's coming will require the strength you gained, the wisdom you earned, and the faith you built in the dark. Hold on a little longer. Stand up one more day. Breathe again. Because when God says end, it is always followed by beginning. Sometimes the hardest part of life is not the pain itself, but the waiting. You pray, you work, you hope, and still the door does not open. Days turn into months, months into years, and you begin to wonder if God has forgotten your address. But here's the truth many people miss. Waiting is not punishment, and delay is not rejection. Delay is preparation. God does not work on panic time. God works on purpose time. What feels slow to you is often precise in the hands of the divine. Think about daily life. When food is taken off the stove too early, it looks cooked on the outside but is raw on the inside. It may look ready, but it can harm you if consumed too soon. In the same way, if certain blessings arrived before your character, wisdom, or strength were ready, they would not help you. They would hurt you. That job you wanted years ago, that relationship you begged for, that breakthrough you cried over, if it had come too early, you might not have had the maturity to sustain it. God is not withholding to be cruel. God is protecting you from receiving something you are not yet built to carry. Many people give up right before their season changes. They quit the job, walk away from the dream, lose faith in themselves because they confuse silence with absence. But silence is often where the deepest work is happening. When a seed is planted, nothing appears to be happening above the ground. No movement, no proof. But beneath the soil, roots are forming, strength is developing, and life is organizing itself. If you dig the seed up too soon, you interrupt the process. Some of you are tempted to dig up what God is growing because you don't see results yet. But just because you don't see it doesn't mean it isn't happening. Every delay carries a lesson. Patience teaches you discipline. Waiting teaches you humility. Uncertainty teaches you trust. If everything came instantly, you would never grow. You would never learn how strong you are, how resilient your spirit can be, or how deeply you can believe even when circumstances don't agree. God uses time to stretch you so that when the blessing arrives, you don't break under its weight. Look at everyday examples. A child who gets everything immediately grows up entitled, frustrated, and unprepared for real life. But a child who learns to wait, to earn, to build, gradually becomes confident and grounded. In the same way, God is not raising spoiled spirits. God is shaping steady souls. What you are becoming matters more than what you are receiving. The blessing is coming, but the version of you that receives it must be strong enough to keep it. Some delays are also redirections. You think you're being blocked, but God is actually steering you away from something that would have drained you, distracted you, or diminished you. That door that didn't open may have been hiding exhaustion, regret, or loss on the other side. God sees paths you cannot see. What feels like a setback is often a setup for something greater, something cleaner, something more aligned with your purpose. When the tough time feels endless, remind yourself God has never been late, not once. History, life, and personal stories all confirm this truth. The moment things finally align, you often realize the timing was perfect. You weren't ready before, the situation wasn't ready before, or the people involved weren't ready before. God waits until all pieces can come together without destroying each other. So don't rush the process. Don't compare your timeline to someone else's. Their season is not your season, and your path is not their path. What is meant for you will arrive at the right moment, not a moment too soon and not a moment too late. And when it does, you will look back at the why, ting, and say, now I understand. This is the end of your tough time, not because everything happens overnight, but because your perspective changes. You stop seeing delay as defeat and start seeing it as development. You stop feeling abandoned and start realizing you are being guided. When you trust God's timing, peace replaces frustration and hope replaces fear. The weight no longer breaks you, it builds you. There are moments in life when it feels like everything is pressing against you at once. Bills pile up, relationships strain, energy runs low, and your patience feels thinner than it has ever been. You wake up tired, not because you didn't sleep, but because your mind never truly rested. In those moments, it is easy to believe that something is wrong with you, that you are weak, or that life has singled you out for hardship. But hear this clearly, what you are going through is not meant to break you, it is meant to shape you. God does not waste seasons, and He does not waste pressure. Think about how strength is built in everyday life. A muscle does not grow because it is comfortable. It grows because it is stretched, torn, and challenged beyond what it was yesterday. If you lift the same weight every day, nothing changes. Growth only happens when resistance increases. In the same way, the pressure you are under is not punishment, it is preparation. God allows weight to come into your life because He knows what you can carry, and more importantly, He knows what you are becoming. Look at your own life and you will see it. The hardest seasons often produce the strongest versions of you. The struggle taught you discipline. The loss taught you value. The delay taught you patience. The disappointment taught you wisdom. You didn't realize it at the time, but while you were trying to survive, God was developing something in you that comfort never could. That season trial in your character, sharpened your discernment, and forced you to rely on an inner strength you didn't know you had. Daily life proves this truth again and again. Consider how pressure creates excellence. Diamonds do not form in calm environments. They are created under intense heat and pressure, deep beneath the surface. No one celebrates the pressure, but everyone admires the result. In the same way, God is forming something valuable in you beneath the surface, where no one sees the struggle but Him. One day, people will admire the strength, the wisdom, and the calm confidence you carry, never realizing it was shaped in moments when you felt like giving up. There are times when you pray for the pressure to leave, but what if the pressure is the very thing unlocking your next level? What if God is saying, stay in this long enough to become who you need to be? You are not stuck, you are being trained. You are not delayed, you are being refined. Every challenge is carving depth into you so that when the tough time ends, you are not the same person who entered it. Think about how life teaches resilience. When you fall and get back up, something changes inside you. The second time you face a similar problem, you don't panic the same way. The third time, you move with confidence. Experience turns fear into familiarity, and familiarity into mastery. God allows repeated challenges not to exhaust you, but to educate you. What once shook you will one day barely move you. Even now, in the middle of the struggle, there is evidence of growth. You are still standing. You are still trying. You are still hoping. That alone tells a powerful story. The fact that you didn't quit proves that something inside you is stronger than what is coming against you. God placed that strength there on purpose. He knew the road would be rough, so He made you resilient. One day you will look and realize that the season you thought was destroying you was actually constructing you. The tears watered your endurance. The silence strengthened your faith. The waiting matured your spirit. And when God says this is the end of your tough time, it won't just be relief you feel, it will be readiness. You won't just escape the pressure, you will emerge equipped. So don't curse the process. Don't rush the shaping. Trust that God is intentional with every moment of pressure you face. You are being molded for something greater than comfort. You are being prepared for a life that requires strength, wisdom, and depth. And when this season ends, you will walk forward, not just free from the struggle, but transformed by it. Comes a moment in life when you realize that delay does not mean denial. Too often we measure progress by speed, and when things don't happen quickly, we assume something is wrong. But God's timing is not rushed, and it is never careless. Think about how many times you were frustrated because something didn't work out when you wanted to. Maybe a job opportunity that slipped away, a relationship that didn't grow as fast as you hoped, or a financial breakthrough that kept getting postponed. At the time, it felt like rejection, like life was pushing you backward. But later, when you look back, you can see that what felt like delay was actually protection, preparation, and positioning. In daily life, we see this principle everywhere. A seed does not become a tree overnight. You don't plant it in the ground today and complain tomorrow that there is no fruit. There is a season underground where nothing seems to be happening. But in reality, everything is happening. Roots are growing. Strength is forming. Stability is being built. God works the same way with people when it feels quiet, when doors seem closed, when answers take longer than expected. That is often the season where your inner foundation is being strengthened. If the blessing had arrived too early, it might have crushed you instead of carried you forward. Many people pray for change, but are not yet ready for the responsibility that comes with it. You might want more money, but if it arrived before your mindset matured, it could disappear just as fast. You might want recognition, but if it came before your character was shaped, it could destroy your peace. God's timing is wise because it accounts not just for what you want, but for who you are becoming. The delay is not about punishment, it is about alignment. God is aligning your patience, your discipline, your faith, and your wisdom so that when the breakthrough comes, you can sustain it. Think about everyday experiences like cooking. Some meals are fast, but the most nourishing and flavorful ones take time. If you rush the process, the food is undercooked and unhealthy. Life works the same way. The tough time you're in may feel like it's taking too long, but it is slow cooking something powerful inside you. Your resilience is increasing. Your understanding is deepening. Your ability to stay calm under pressure is growing. These are qualities you will need in the next season of your life. There are moments when impatience whispers, take shortcuts, force the door, make it happen on your own. But every shortcut comes with hidden costs. When you move ahead of God's timing, you may get there faster, but you arrive tired, anxious, and unstable. When you wait and move in harmony with divine timing, you arrive strong, confident, and prepared. Waiting does not mean doing nothing. It means doing the right things while trusting that the right moment will come. In daily struggles, paying bills, caring for family, managing stress, dealing with disappointment, it's easy to feel like time is against you. God is not limited by clocks or calendars. What takes years for people to figure out, God can turn around in a moment. One phone call, one meeting, one idea, one opportunity can change everything. The reason timing matters is because when the moment is right, things fall into place with less resistance. What once felt impossible suddenly feels natural. When you trust God's timing, your heart becomes lighter. You stop fighting every delay and start learning from it. You stop panicking about when and start focusing on who you are becoming in the process. Peace comes when you understand that your life is not late. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are right where growth is happening. The tough time is not endless. It has an expiration date. God sees the full picture, and what is being prepared for you is worth the wait. So when things feel slow, remind yourself that timing is working for you, not against you. The same God who allowed the season of struggle is also setting the moment of release. When that moment arrives, you will realize that every delay made sense, every lesson mattered, and every tough day prepared you for a stronger tomorrow. There comes a moment when you realize that the struggle was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to develop you. Every long night, every unanswered question, every tear you wiped away in silence was shaping something inside you that comfort never could. God allows seasons of pressure, not because he is absent, but because he is intentional. Just like muscles only grow when they are stretched and challenged, your inner strength only awakens when life demands more from you than you think you have. You didn't survive what you went through by accident. You were being expanded. You were being prepared to carry more joy, more responsibility, more purpose, and more peace than you once could. Think about daily lift. When someone starts a new job, the first days feel overwhelming. The instructions are confusing, the pace feels too fast, and mistakes seem constant. Many people think, I'm not cut out for this. But weeks later, the same tasks feel lighter. Not because the job changed, but because the person grew. What once felt impossible becomes routine. Your tough time worked the same way. God was training your emotional muscles, sharpening your discernment, and teaching you how to stand even when no one applauded. That is not wasted pain. That is preparation. There were moments when you wanted answers, but all you got was silence. Moments when you prayed for relief, but the pressure stayed. Yet look at you now. You didn't quit. You didn't disappear. You learned how to breathe in chaos. You learned how to keep moving even when motivation was gone. That endurance did not come from yourself alone. God was quietly strengthening you from the inside out. When the storm was loud, his work was silent. And now, because you've grown, the season must shift. Tough times cannot remain where growth has already done its job. In everyday life, a student who never faces difficult exams never truly learns the subject. It's the hard tests that reveal understanding and build confidence. Later, when real life challenges appear, that student doesn't panic because struggle already taught them how to think. In the same way, your challenges taught you how to respond instead of react, how to trust instead of fear, how to move with wisdom instead of impulse. God was not punishing you, he was equipping you. And once the lesson is learned, the test has no reason to continue. You may not even recognize how strong you've become because growth happens quietly. You don't wake up one day and feel powerful. You just notice that things that once broke, you no longer have the same control over your spirit. Whoa! Ideas that once crushed you now bounce off. Delays that once frustrated you now teach patience. Losses that once shattered you now deepen your compassion. This is evidence that your season is changing. God does not keep you in training forever. When preparation is complete, promotion follows. Think of a person who has been saving money faithfully while others were spending freely. For a long time, it looks like they're missing out. No fancy trips, no instant rewards. But when a crisis hits or an opportunity appears, they are ready. Their discipline turns into freedom. Your tough time was like that hidden discipline. While it looked like nothing was happening, something powerful was being built. Now you are positioned for a release, a breakthrough, a lighter season where effort produces results instead of exhaustion. God is wise with timing. He knows that blessings given too early can overwhelm you. He waits until your mindset matches your destiny. That's why the struggle lasted longer than you expected. You were growing into the version of yourself that could sustain peace, not just receive it. Now that growth has taken place, the pressure no longer serves a purpose. The door begins to open. The weight begins to lift. The tough time reaches its end, not because life suddenly becomes perfect, but because you are now strong enough to move forward with confidence. So don't regret the season that stretched you. Don't resent the time that tested you. It shaped your character, clarified your priorities, and aligned you with God's timing. You are not behind. You are prepared. And because you have grown, what once felt heavy will now feel manageable. What once delayed you will now direct you. This is how you know the tough time is ending. You are no longer the same person who entered it, and God never wastes growth. There is a moment in every long struggle when the hardest par. T is not the pain itself, but the decision to keep showing up. You wake up tired of being strong. You go to sleep wondering if tomorrow will look any different. And yet, something inside you still rises, still breathes, still moves forward. That quiet strength is not accidental. That is God teaching you endurance, because endurance is the bridge between hardship and breakthrough. God is not impressed by how loudly you declare victory. God is shaping you by how faithfully you stand when nothing seems to change. Think about daily life. Think about the parent who works 2 jobs and still comes home to help with homework. Think about the student who keeps studying after failing once, twice, even 3 times. Think about the person who keeps applying for jobs after rejection emails pile up. Nobody applauds those moments. There is no spotlight on endurance, but God sees every unseen effort. God sees every tear wiped away before anyone notices, and God says, keep showing up. You are closer than you think. Many people believe their tough time will end when circumstances suddenly change, but often God ends a tough season by changing the person inside the circumstances first. You don't notice it happening, but one day you realize you don't break as easily anymore. The same pressure that once crushed you now sharpens you. The same delay that once frustrated you now teaches you patience. That is endurance doing its quiet work. God is not wasting your waiting. God is working while you are enduring. In everyday life, endurance looks ordinary. It looks like paying bills on time even when money is tight. It looks like choosing kindness when bitterness would be easier. It looks like getting up early to work on a dream that hasn't paid you back yet. These moments feel small, but they are powerful because every time you choose consistency over quitting, you are telling the universe, I believe God is still writing my story. And God responds to that belief with strength you didn't know you had. Some people quit not because they are weak, but because they are tired of hoping. God understands that exhaustion. God understands the weight of unanswered prayers and delayed results. But here is the truth that changes everything. Endurance is proof that God is already carrying you. If you were alone, you would have quit already. The fact that you are still here, still breathing, still trying, is evidence that God's hand has been under you this whole time. Think about how muscles grow. They don't grow when you lift something once. They grow when you lift, strain, rest, and lift again. Life works the same way. Your tough time is resistance, not punishment. It is building strength you will need for the next level. God is not preparing you just to survive. God is preparing you to sustain the blessing that is coming. If it arrived too early, it would overwhelm you, so endurance stretches your capacity. There will be days when endurance feels like silence from God, days when prayers feel heavy and answers feel far away. But silence does not mean absence. Seeds grow underground in silence. No one sees the process, but the growth is real. Endurance is you staying planted long enough for the roots to go deep. And when the season shifts, when the breakthrough finally breaks through the surface, people will call it sudden. They won't know how long you endured beneath the soil. God says your tough time is ending, not because you complained enough, but because you have endured enough to handle what comes next. You have learned how to stand without applause. You have learned how to trust without proof. You have learned how to move forward with faith instead of fear. These lessons are priceless. They turn pain into wisdom and waiting into strength. So if today feels heavy, don't measure your life by what hasn't happened yet. Measure it by how far you've come without quitting. Every step you took while tired mattered. Every time you chose hope over despair mattered. Endurance is not just surviving the storm. It is becoming someone who knows the storm doesn't last forever. God is watching your consistency, honoring your perseverance, and preparing the moment when endurance turns into deliverance. And when that moment comes, you will understand why you had to keep showing up, even when it was hard. Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try, life just keeps knocking you down? Like you are running a race where the finish line keeps moving further away? That is exactly why this next point is so critical. Resilience is your ultimate weapon, and God says your breakthrough is on the other side of your endurance. Life's toughest moments are not meant to break you. They are meant to build you into the person you are destined to become. Think about a seed buried high, the dark soil. It doesn't complain about the darkness. It doesn't wish the soil were different. It simply pushes through, stretching its tiny roots downward, reaching upward toward the sunlight. And when it finally breaks the surface, it blossoms into a tree that can weather storms and provide shade for generations. That seed didn't quit, it endured, and so will you. The same principle applies to your struggles. Your challenges are the soil in which your strength is being nurtured. Look at everyday life. Have you ever noticed how the strongest people you know are not the ones who have had it easy, but the ones who have faced hardship head on again and again and refused to give up? A single mother working 2 jobs, exhausted and stressed, still finds the energy to nurture her children and instill values of hope and perseverance. She doesn't quit because she knows her efforts are building a legacy. A student struggling to pass a challenging exam who fails the first time studies harder the next, refusing to let temporary setbacks define them. They understand that persistence is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. The firefighter who runs into burning buildings when everyone else runs out. The entrepreneur who faces rejection after rejection but keeps refining their vision. These are everyday examples of resilience in action. And if they can persist, So can you. Every hardship you face is an invitation to rise above, to discover a strength you didn't know existed. Now, let's bring this closer to home. Think about the last time life tested you. Maybe it was a financial struggle, a broken relationship, or a health scare that left you feeling helpless. Remember that moment when you thought you couldn't go on, and yet somehow you did. You woke up the next day. You took the next step. You breathed through the pain. That small act of perseverance is PR. Oof. That resilience is already inside you. God is telling you today, the end of your tough times is closer than you think, but you must hold on. Your breakthrough requires you to hold steady through the storm. Resilience also thrives in the mindset of learning rather than blaming. Life will throw curveballs at you. That is inevitable. But how you respond determines your outcome. Consider the athlete who loses a crucial game. Do they collapse under disappointment, or do they review the game, analyze their mistakes, and train harder for the next match? Every setback is a lesson disguised as hardship. Every struggle contains a hidden opportunity for growth. The moment you shift your perspective from why me to what can I learn is the moment you start moving from survival to triumph. The storm doesn't control you, your response does. You may not be able to control every challenge, but you can control the way you react, and that is where your power lies. Let's talk about hope, because resilience without hope is like a fire without fuel. Hope is not wishful thinking. It is the confident expectation that your efforts will bear fruit. Picture a farmer planting crops in a drought. The farmer waters the soil, prays for rain, and continues working tirelessly, even when the land seems barren. That farmer trusts the process. That farmer knows the harvest will come. And your life works the same way. The rains may not come immediately, but every small effort, every act of courage, every step forward is contributing to your eventual breakthrough. You must hold on to hope, for hope is the invisible engine that keeps you moving when everything seems hopeless. And don't forget the ripple effect. Your resilience doesn't just impact your life, it inspires everyone around you. When people see you refusing to give up, even when circumstances are tough, they are encouraged to fight our own battles. Your endurance becomes a beacon of light, showing others that it is possible to rise above adversity. That's the power of living proof. Your story, your persistence, your courage, it teaches without words. And the more you embrace resilience, the more you realize that your toughest moments are preparing you to shine in ways you never imagined. So as God speaks into your life today, know this: the trials you are facing are not the end of your story. They are the beginning of a transformation. Every difficult day is a rehearsal for the triumph that is coming. Every tear, every sleepless night, every moment of doubt is building the courage, strength, and wisdom that will carry you to your breakthrough. Keep pushing, keep striving, keep believing. Because resilience is not about never falling. It is about rising every single time you do. And your rise is imminent. The final key point I want to leave you with today is this: faith in the unseen is what transforms your present struggles into future triumphs. It is easy to have faith when everything is going well, when the sun is shining and the path is clear. But true transformation, true power comes when you choose to believe, even when you cannot see the outcome. Think about the countless people who changed the world simply because they refused to give up on what they could not yet see. The artist who spends years sketching in a small attic studio, ignored by everyone, yet continues to create, believing in the vision of the masterpiece they know lies ahead. The entrepreneur who invests every last dime into a dream that seems impossible, driven by an unshakable conviction that success will come. The student burning the midnight oil to master a subject, unsure if their efforts will pay off, but pressing on anyway. In every corner of life, those who succeed are those who trust the process, even when the process is invisible. Every challenge you face is a test of your ability to believe in what is not yet visible. Consider a seed again, buried beneath the soil, unseen, unnoticed, yet growing steadily. If the seed could see its roots stretching downward or its tiny sprout reaching toward the light, it might hesitate. But it does not see. It trusts the natural law of growth and it thrives. That is the level of faith you are being called to embrace. Life may feel dark right now. Your goals may feel distant. Your efforts may seem futile. But just because you cannot see the immediate results does not mean progress is not happening. God is whispering to your heart today, keep moving forward. Trust what you cannot see, for it is the unseen that is working behind the scenes to bring your breakthrough. Look at your daily life. How often do we underestimate the power of unseen efforts? A parent quietly teaching their child right from wrong day after day without any acknowledgement, yet shaping the child's future profoundly. A teacher who spends extra hours preparing lessons, never realizing the full impact on a student's life, but planting seeds of knowledge that will bloom years later. A janitor cleaning a building, unseen and unnoticed, yet providing a safe, clean environment where countless lives can flourish. Every small act, every effort made with dedication, even when unseen matters. Your faith in these efforts, your trust in the process is what ultimately produces miracles. Faith in the unseen also requires patience, which is one of the hardest lessons for anyone to learn. Patience is not passivity. It is not waiting aimlessly, hoping for things to magically improve. Patience is active trust. It is planting, watering, and nurturing your life, knowing that in due time the harvest will come. Picture a mother preparing a meal for her family.